The following portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by Herndon, Coleman, Braiding, and McKee. We hear the term personal injury quite a bit when it comes to law firms and lawsuits, but what does personal injury actually mean? Well, this morning we want to welcome Brad Griffith from the law firm of Herndon, Coleman, Braiding, and McKee to tell us more. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Personal injury. We hear that term a lot. What is personal injury?
Personal injury is a legal term. It just means that if you have an actual injury, physical injury to your body, or it can also be a mental injury, such as emotional distress. In the context of a lawsuit, what you normally have is there's an accident that's happened, somebody's injured by someone else's fault, and they either have a physical injury to your body, or you have the mental injury like emotional distress. The one we see most often is from car accidents, because that's what happens most often.
Right.
So the majority of personal injury cases are all arise from car accidents, but we also have things like dog bites, slip and falls. Basically anything that you get injured for that's someone else's fault, you can seek compensation for.
And talking about compensation, what kind of things can you recover money for in a personal injury case?
The two most common ones that we see most of the time are medical bills and pain and suffering. Medical bills, virtually every personal injury case, you're going to get some type of medical treatment one way or the other, and as we all know, medical treatment is not cheap.
Right.
So you're entitled to get your money back for that, be reimbursed from that. Pain and suffering just means, exactly what it says. In just about every personal injury case, you got to have some type of pain and suffering. You've gone through something, you're entitled to recover for that. The other types of things that you can recover for are lost wages if you couldn't work, loss of earnings in the future, which means if you haven't returned to work, or in a serious case, you can't return to work at all. You can recover for that. You can recover for what we call a loss of enjoyment of life. And I always explain that to people to say, I like to go hiking, so I bring this up. If you like to go hiking, it's one of the things you love to do, but you hurt your knee, you can't go hiking anymore,
right.
Then you've lost some of the enjoyment of your life, so you can recover for those things. And there are others, but I guess one of the main points is all of those aren't available in every case.
Right.
Each case is different.
And you take it by case basis.
You have to.
And do you specialize in defending personal injury lawsuits or suing for the injured person?
I have been practicing law now in Johnson City for 21 years, just down the street here from WJHL.
Right, because I know exactly where your office is.
Right. And I grew up in the law, so to speak, as a defense attorney. But in the last 5 years or so, we've really kind of branched out, and we do both for the person who's suing and for the defendant. So we do both of them. And I think it's really important when you're looking for an attorney to hire that you need somebody who has a perspective from both sides, who understands both sides. And so if you're somebody that's injured and you're looking to hire something, you want somebody who knows how the insurance companies work, and I've been working with them closely for 21 years.
You can't beat experience.
No.
And let's talk about how would someone with a personal injury case, how would they determine how much their case is worth?
Well, I want to answer that question first by saying how you don't determine what it's worth.
Okay, very good.
I get all the time people will come in and say, I did some research on the internet, and I looked at Google. You cannot tell how much your case is worth by that. My case is worth X. And so I have to spend a lot of time explaining to them why that's not accurate. There is no formula. You can't type in your medical bills and type in your injury and move on. There are a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. One, did the injured person cause part of the accident? Were they partially at fault? What type of injuries did they have? How much were their medical expenses? Are they back to normal now? If not, are they going to get back to normal? What kind of treatment did you have? Did you have surgery? Did you have pre-existing problems? So if you had a back problem before and you had surgery, and you got a back problem from this accident, it's just not going to be worth as much as if you didn't have it. There's all kinds of factors like that. One that we look at a lot from the defense perspective is there objective evidence of an injury? Not just me saying my back hurts, but do you have an MRI or an X-ray or something that shows an actual injury? Those things obviously make your case worth more. So the best advice that I can give anybody in this situation is to talk to an attorney. You need someone who's experienced, who knows what they're doing, who can take all these factors into account and give you what they believe is a fair amount for your case.
And you encourage folks, if they've got questions, pick up the phone or come and visit you all.
Right. We get calls all day, every day. We encourage them. We want them. We have a website. You can email us. We do all kinds of communication. Somebody calls our office, I can guarantee you somebody's going to call you back.
And it sounds to me like, you know, when we're talking about personal injury, there's more than just to sit down and talk. There's some actual investigation has to happen.
There is. You talk to witnesses. One of the, maybe the biggest thing that I didn't think about before I had this job was how much medicine you learn during it.
Right.
So we have to gather a lot of medical records. We review those medical records. We talk to doctors. We hire doctors to help us out. So there's a lot of investigation. You got to go to the scenes of these accidents, take photographs, videos. There's a lot of, it's not just sitting at your office and waiting for people to come to you.
Right. All right. Brad Griffith, we appreciate you. Our
Thank
legal
you.
expert there. We appreciate you coming in. Some great knowledge he passed along here today. Herndon, Coleman, Brady, and McKee, if you have questions about personal injury or anything to do with the law, they encourage you to pick up the phone, give them a call, or check out their website right there, lawyerfirm.com. The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities was sponsored by Herndon, Coleman, Brady, and McKee.